Boom, baby, let's do this. Let's finish this. Actually, no, we're not gonna finish it. I'm probably gonna make this into a series video because I know it's very tedious and long and fun to texture a character. Let's get started. Let's just jump right in and start swimming in freezing as water. We're gonna look at the tools. More tools. Yes, more tools. It's okay, man. The more you learn, the more you earn. That's how I see it. So I'm gonna make a shelf. I like to make a shelf for all my awesome buttons. So go down here where it says new shelf. Click on that thing, and then I'm gonna say, like, texture, buttons, and stuff that goes here. I don't care, whatever. Name it whatever you want. You give me actually let me write a sentence. That's sweet. Um okay. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna use? We are gonna use, make sure, like I said, go under polygons. Go under polygons, and then you're gonna get your menus up here. Under edit UVs, I can actually click this little dotted line. You see this dotted line? I can cut it away so I can move it around. That's cool. This is what we're going to be using a lot. I don't want to confuse you guys. Maybe you guys don't have that. Oh, I don't have that feature. Cut UV edges. You guys see this? Find it in your window. Cut UV edges. We're going to be using that one a lot. We're going to be using relax because you guys need to chill. Unfold, like I said, this is like the orange type of thing. Once we cut UV edges, we need to unfold them, and that's why we have the button that says unfold. And then we're going to be using we're going to be working with the UVs in the UV texture editor. So 4 buttons, 4 tools that we're going to be using in this menu: relax, chill, just be cool; unfold, cut UV edges, and UV texture editor. So I'm gonna add the UV texture editor. So to add it to my shelf, hold Control Shift click on this. Now you saw it's over here in my shelf, and I'm gonna go and add the cut UV edges. So Control Shift click, and there I have, I have my texture editor window. So this is what it looks like when you click on that. And then the UVs, you need to select edges for that to work. Okay, so let's get right to it. I'm gonna show you how to unwrap the arm first. Alright, so we need to think of a way to cut this so that we can unfold it. So here's how we do it. And we're gonna need to do the exact same thing to the other side. So I might just do it to this to his left side, or our right side, this side, and then you guys go ahead and do it to the other side. So just to not make this video like really long, right? So except like his chest is gonna be one whole piece, and his pants and his shoes, I'll just do one side, you do the other side, and his head is gonna be one solid piece. It's not gonna be half and half. And then this little collar thing, I'm gonna make it into a separate piece, maybe. We'll see. Okay, so we need to start cutting this thing up. So I'll go to the texture UV editor. Now you see we have 4 squares here, right? The only square that you need to be concerned about once we're done with the UVs is this top right square, this one right here. Okay, these other ones don't do anything. You can actually just grab the UVs, move them around, move them away while you're working on stuff, but once you're done with everything, you're gonna need to put everything into this one square. Okay, and I mean everything, and I'll show you that later. So let me show you what's gonna happen. I am going to add a texture to this so you see how bad it looks right now. So I'm gonna go right click on the model and then go to assign new material. Now this is gonna pop in a material to this thing. Now here we have options. What type of material do you want it to be? Do you want it to be shiny? Do you want it to be flat? Do you want it to be, I don't know, reflective, non-reflective, whatever? Just the two of the main ones or three of the main ones that you might use a lot is blend, which is shiny and it has reflection on it, or Lambert, which is flat. It does not have any shine. And Fong and Fongy are sort of the same thing, but they work almost as equal as blend. So these three, blend and Fong E, are shiny and they're reflective. And then Lambert is not. So I'm gonna use Lambert. And then you're like, well, nothing happened. What happened? Well, actually, we applied the Lambert, but we need to select it. So let's go to Window, Rendering Editors, and then go to Hypershade. Now I can actually add this window to my shelf, so I'm gonna do Control Shift click, and now I have Hypershade. Now if you middle mouse and you click and drag it, you can move it around. You right click, you can delete it, stuff like that. So this is my Hypershade window. Click on it, and then we have the materials that we have in our scene here, right? So all these materials we have here in our scene, which I added some of these previously, but I'm not using. So if I go, that's the eyes, Lambert 2. Okay, so Lambert 2 is the one that we just created. So if you right click, you can see we're gonna have options here. Select objects with material. So if I do that one, you can see it's selected the object that has that material on there. That way you know which material belongs to what object, right? So let's say I go to Lambert 1, select objects. You can see that one is being used in the eyes. Alright, shiny. I don't think I'm using that one, so nothing got selected. So Lambert 2. So if I double click on it, it opens up this window here. I'm gonna minimize this. Right? So here I can label this. I'm gonna call this, whoa, Ninja texture. And then I'm gonna go into color. Color is the main one that we're worried about. This is where the color is gonna come from. So we're gonna go into this little checker pattern, click on it, and then here we're gonna add a texture to it, or a file. So we're gonna go into file. Now all this stuff, you can mess with it, but we're not concerned about adding like noise or other types of patterns. We want to add a file to this. So once we click on that, we get this little new window that says, reload, edit, or view your image. And then you have this little folder. So we click on this folder, and now you can just find the photo that you want to add to it. Now I already have this one. It's called checker pattern. So I'm going to share this image with you guys because this is very useful. I'm going to hit open, and now this model has this checker pattern that I apply to it. That it's a picture. So in order to see it, I need to hit 6 on the keyboard, or up here it says textured. So click on it, and now we can see the texture that I applied to it, right? So this texture, I'm going to show you what it is and how it should look like. So it's actually just a checker pattern with numbers. It looks like this. So it's just squares and numbers and letters and stuff like that. None of that means anything. The only reason why we use this is because we need to see this pattern. We need to see it clearly in our model. And I'm going to show you why. Because right now we applied it here is our ninja. Now you can see all these little, let me hide this. These are all the little squares and checker patterns that we have, but you can see they're very distorted. They're like triangles, and you see a bunch of them, but they're very squished here. They're huge in the back. They're not even. So we need to even these out. In the leg, they're really small right here. They're stretched right here. So this is pretty horrible. You don't want this type of effect into your model. So what you can do now is go into your place 2D texture, and then under repeat UV, you can add maybe 2 by 2, or maybe you can make it larger. So this is gonna add more patterns. No, I think 1 by 1 is fine. I'll just leave it like that for mine. Maybe yours might look a lot different. So the type of look that we want is sort of like this. You see this one right here? This one's a little bit better because you can see they're squares. You can read the numbers. They're a little bit bigger. So in order to get the texture to lay out evenly, we need to unwrap it, and this is where the UVs come into play. So you guys saw how I applied a picture, right? So you need to right click, assign new material. I'm not going to do it right now, I'm just showing you. And then once you assign the material, you go to your material that you assign, double click on it, you go into color, right? You'll have this little checker thing. You'll click on it, and then you'll get a new window that says, file. Click on file, and then from there you go to the folder, and then you add the image to it. Now I know it's kind of a long process, but that's the only way you can add a photo into your model, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to be adding this the photographs onto it. But okay, so I need to cut this up. See, here it's looking pretty good, a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do the arm first, and then we'll stop there, and then I'll do another video. So let me turn on the wireframe, hit 5. I don't want to see the textures anymore. So here we go. We're going to cut seams where we're going to have different colors. So this is going to be the skin texture, and then this is going to be like material for his little vest, right, for the ninja color, for his clothing. So I'm going to right click, go to edge. I'm going to have an edge right here. If I hit 4, you can see that went all the way around. It looped around his arm, right? That's what we need to do. We need to create like a cylinder type of thing. So here we're going to cut it. Go to UVs, cut UVs, or you can just hit this button here, same thing. And then I'm going to cut it over here too. Let me see, maybe right here, this edge right here, double click on it. Now it doesn't go all the way around, so I need to finish it off. So this one, so I just hit Control Shift, double click on it, and then and it went all the way around. So okay, it needs to connect, right? You need to make sure that the loops go all the way around. You cannot stop, like say I can't add this one because it doesn't lead anywhere, so I have to just make a loop. Alright, now we have that one. We're going to cut the UVs. Cut. Okay, now this is like a cylinder. We cut it here, we cut it here. We just have an arm. We have like this sort of thing happening, right? Now don't worry about what I just did right there. It's just to show you. But we can't really unfold it yet because we need to cut it somewhere down like this. Once we have this cut down here, like this edge right here maybe, then we can unfold it, right? But let me show you what we need to do first. How do you know where we cut it? how do I know that we cut it here? How do I know that we cut it here? I can't see any difference in the edges, right? You know, what if I forgot that I cut it there and I'm trying to cut it somewhere else? I try to cut it here maybe, you know? So there's a way to see where you cut it. So to do this, should have done this earlier, but it's okay. Go to display, polygons, and down here it says texture border edges. So if I click on that, hit 5, you see I have thicker lines and others are thinner. So actually you don't want this. If you guys have this, make sure that you sew everything together. So to get rid of this, just select your model, go to edit UVs, and then go to, it says sew UV edges, click on it, and then now it's gone. Okay, so actually what that did is it even sewed what I cut, but it's okay. I'm gonna do it again. Double click, it goes all the way around, cut, do this again, double click, goes all the way around, cut. So now if I hit 4, you guys can see that this edge right here is thicker, right? You guys can see that this little edge that I cut is thicker than this edge right here. Now you guys can actually mess with the thickness of that. Go back to display, polygons, and then at the very bottom it says custom polygon display. And if you go over here it says edge width. You guys can mess with this number and it should update the thickness. Well, it should, but it's not. I hate when it does this crap. Okay, well, yeah, just try it out. Go to here, it says edge width, and you can mess with this number and then just hit apply. Oh, there it goes. Only when it wants to. You see this edge got really thick compared to the other one, so I can actually make this like 2. Oh wait, what did I do? I can hit 2 here, hit apply. So you see that edge got thinner. You do 1, apply, now it's gone. So I like to keep it like at 4, so I can really see the edges that I cut. You see, I mean that's pretty thick, but you know, you guys can use whatever number you guys want. I like 4 or 3, you know, and then just hit apply and close. So now we have these edges that we cut, right? So now what I need to do is, I'm done with this. Now I need to project it. Okay? So in order to project this, I'm going to select all the polygons that make this section up. So I'm gonna Control Shift, select, Control Shift. Make sure it's only the polygons inside here, and make sure you don't leave any polygons out. Okay, that's done. Grab all of this stuff right here. So grab these, grab those. Now, not this one, so I'm just gonna hit Control, deselect these. Actually, yeah, I don't need these. Just the ones inside, just the ones that are the skin or the arm. And I think that's it. Not this one, not this one. Hit 4, check this out. Just want to double check. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm gonna project this from remember the basic tutorial for texturing. You have to know which way you're gonna project this from, which way you want which one gives you the bigger area to add the image. Either from the top is good because you have all this area to add the picture to, or from the front here, which is a Z axis, you can add a nice picture here. But I'm gonna go with the top. I like the top better. So what I'm gonna do now is, watch, I'm gonna show you as it's happening. So go to the texture editor, and then what we're gonna do is we need to go into create UVs, because now we're gonna create them. So go to planar. We're just gonna do a planar maps on all of this. Go to the option box, and then I'm gonna project it from the Y axis. So the Y is already selected here, and then you can stick with the defaults. If you reset it and then just go Y, all this stuff should be pretty decent. And then just hit project, and that made it really huge. Okay, I'm gonna undo that. Let me try. I think maybe I need to best plane. Oh, keep image width height ratio. I think that one needs to be checked on. Try it again. Okay, yeah, that gives us a better you can see this one is more like of the actual size. The other one was really stretched out, so make sure you check that one on. Keep what did it say? Aspect ratio, on. Alright. And now that I have that, it looks like a cylinder type of thing, but we can't unfold it. If I were to grab the UVs, so right click UVs and then select all of this stuff, just grab the move tool and grab this out, so we can just focus on the arm right now. If I were to do polygons, unfold down here, look, this looks pretty horrible. Nothing happens. So I'm gonna undo that. And the reason why it didn't unfold properly is because we don't have a cut. We need to cut it all the way through. So imagine like this is I don't know, the cardboard of a toilet paper, right? It's a cylinder, and you want to unfold it to lay it flat. You need to grab scissors and cut through it, right? Once you cut through, now you can unfold it. So this is the same technique that we need to do with the arm or anything that's like a cylinder. We need to cut it. So I'm gonna minimize this, and we need to add a cut where, now let's say we added a picture here, right? Where we cut it, it's gonna fold back together, and where the edges meet, you're gonna get a seam, right? You're gonna get this little border where the textures might not line up properly, so you're gonna see a crease, you're gonna see a line, right? So you need to make sure that that line, that crease, that little edge is somewhere where it's not so visible. So make sure you add the cuts somewhere, like I would add it down here like this, because it's in the bottom, maybe somewhere in the back here. So same thing when you're cutting everything, you're gonna cut the pants here, cut somewhere along the back. If you're gonna cut, here, do it along the back so you don't see it. You don't want to add it right in the center because you're gonna see it. As your character is walking around and animated, you don't want to see bad texture. So you want to hide this as much as possible. So for the arm, right click edges, and some of this stuff you need to do it manually. So I'm gonna select this edge, hit F, and you want to make sure that it's touching that border that we cut. And then we're gonna go into this one, follow the line here, this one, go here, that one, that one, that one, and you're just gonna go all the way through until you hit the other side. Whoa. So this one and this one, and you can see here we have that border edge. So now all I have to do is hit this button, and then now we have a seam. right? So this is where our seam is going to be. So if I hit 5, you can see it. Now we can open it from here and unfold it, right? So if I go back to my UVs, well, you don't see it because I haven't selected. So select your model, go to my UVs, right click, and you need to go under UVs. Don't go under edges, vertex, or faces. We're not dealing with, polygons. We're dealing with UVs. This is just like I said, this is the skin. This is the skin of the model that goes over it and adds just the color. This is not actual modeling. So we need to go to UVs. And then here's a little shortcut. Instead of selecting everything, you could just, select one UV and then hold control, right click, and then you're gonna get all these options. But just go the one that says to shell. Now this is actually like a little section of the arm, so they call it a shell. So when you release it, that just selects that little part of it. Okay. So here's another thing. If you guys made a mistake and you see like a line going from here all the way over here to this whole junk, it means you didn't cut it properly. It means that you left maybe a polygon still attached together. So you could go back and cut it properly, and you can actually sew. Let's say you made a mistake and you cut it the wrong way. You can go back to edit and then select the edges and then go to sew UV edges. That'll combine them back together if you made a mistake. Alright, but most of the time you want to cut edges. Okay, so now we have our cylinder and we have a cut. So now let's go back to polygons under the UV texture editor and let's try to unfold this, see what happens. Now this is actually the arm being laid out flat. This is what we want, right? This is the arm. This is I think this is where the wrist goes, and this is like the elbow area, and then this is where the arm meets the shoulder type of thing. So as I'm selecting the UVs, you can see over here, go to 4, you can see what I'm selecting, right? So if I select this section, go over here and hit F, see, that's the forearm. I'm selecting these UVs. You can notice that it turns green because they're UVs. They're not vertices. I'm not selecting the vertices. I didn't go right click vertex and select vertices because that'll make them yellow. You can see here they're turning yellow. So you want to make sure you're under UVs and they're turning green. Okay, and that's it. You want to keep this. Don't mess with the scale. Don't grab these UVs and start moving them around. You want to keep this fairly together. And here's why unfolding works, because now if I go into the texture, if I hit 6, look at this texture now. I'm going to object mode. And let me turn off my wireframe. Minimize this. Now, this is why we added that grid, because I wanted to show you this. You can see how evenly this looks around the arm, right? This is what we want. Nice squares. We can read the letters, we can read the numbers, and then we come over here to the arm and this is horrible. I mean, if we add a picture to this, once we add it, the picture is going to be distorted. So you don't want to distort the picture. You want it evenly distributed around your model. So that's why we add these type of texture patterns. That's why sometimes when you see other, like maybe your teacher, he'll add a black and white texture pattern. He's looking that the squares don't look stretched, that they don't look rectangular, right? That they don't look compressed. They need to look even, and that's very important when you want to add textures. So I'm gonna stop here, and you can actually leave this arm here. Now don't mess with it. If you want to move it, just grab UVs or do what I showed you, control right click to shell, and then grab it and then just move it away. Now you can see when I move it, the texture moves, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about that right now. Just grab it. We're done with this one. save it, put it to the side, and leave it there. And I'm gonna show you how to continue, and from this you guys can continue doing this for the arm. We already have the seam here, so this seam can work for the hand. Not the arm, the hand, that's what I meant. And then we're gonna cut it all the way through the center of the fingers, right through the middle, so that we can split it from the top of the hand to the palm of the hand. Alright, and then we need to do the exact same thing on this side, so go ahead and do that. Select the edge rings around here, do another ring around here, and then project it first. Okay, make sure you don't forget about the order that it goes. Cut it, project it, and then split. And then once you split, go to your texture editor, unfold. That's it. That's all you have to do. If it looks flat and smooth, you did a good job. If it looks kind of weird or funky, maybe you didn't cut it properly. Maybe the edges are not connected to the other edges. So just double check that. And with that, I'm gonna see you in the next tutorial. So subscribe, follow me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/animationmethods. I have a book coming out that's gonna teach you how to do character animation. So if you guys want to watch out for my book, follow me on Facebook. It's probably gonna release sometime in November of 2012 this year. So peace. Check me out. Hope you like it. Hope you learn. Catch you later.